I remember it getting serious when the tarp went up. That's great that your mom opened basically what became a restaurant, right? But it didn't start like that.
I feel like I should remember what it was like when we were selling inside the house. But part of me is losing that memory. It's been almost 15 years since we shut down. So this is where it all started. You know what I mean? It's slowly like forgetting what it was like. And I don't want to lose that. I feel like it is a story for me to tell. Like it's something of my memory and it's my family story. But it's not just my family story, it's the community story.
Yeah.
It's people who lived in West Philly at the time. People who remembered what it was like to live in that neighborhood. And where we went to go have good food and good company and a place of refuge.
I think naturally because there's no like footage, it was just every day back then. It was just like
it was just a hustle.
It was just like you get up, you fucking eat, you cook, and like I don't think it was like a job. It was just like living.
It was part of life, you know.
John Ghetto, Sonny, you wrote that?
So I remember this guy who was always walking up and down my block all the time. And he would always come in and always order food. Welcome to Adventure Eats at Vientiane. This is our third time of the trying this. And this is the biggest yet. So thanks to all of you guys who came today. So I was like, okay, do you guys want to try kai lu, which is the fertile egg, chicken egg?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my god, really? You're gonna let us try that? So we have 8 courses. Some of the dishes are already out, some is on the way out. We have the kai lu and the mian kam, which is the lettuce wrap and the egg that you're eating. And you have the gang mai, which is the bamboo stew. Also, some of you guys already have the silver omelet that should be out already. And we just have 2 more dishes on the way. And then I remember, like years later, at Vientiane, he came one day and he's like, "Dude, I'll never forget the day you gave me chicken eggs. Like, I ate a whole fucking chicken." I was like, "Holy shit, you remember that?"
It sucks. It's like not even anything what it used to be like.
No, it's not. That's why I said the alley, because the alley, at least this alley still looks exactly like how it was. I remember just, you know, my mom would just teach me how to cook and teach me how to cut food and cut vegetables and meat. And we were just, you know, a small, like a mom and daughter team.
Yes.
I remember it getting serious when the tarp went up. That's great that your mom opened basically what became a restaurant, right? But it didn't start like that, right?
It didn't start like a restaurant. We are a family of immigrants, you know, first generation in America. Like, okay, we see something that can work. We built a tent over our garden area, and we boarded up the fence with some wooden planks so no one can see through. And we just set up station right there. You know? That's mainly on weekends, but weekdays, most of the people who lived in the neighborhood were farming and then factory work. So they would go like 3 o'clock in the morning. They hop on a van and they go like to New Jersey. At the time, I was like, oh my god, the white van is here. Like, they're picking up people to go to work. You know?
I got you.
That's what I remember. Some of them who are older, who are able to stay home or after school, most of them get hungry. You know, they're like, okay, let's just go to Sunny's place. So buy menu, you know, which is my mom to say, you know, go to Xiaobi's house. Now, we weren't open just like for 1 year and got shut down. We were open for at least 5 years.
Yeah.
Underground for 5 years. Word spread out and the business got bigger and bigger. And then eventually we got shut down by the city. We had a full house that night. They closed down the whole grid and the SWAT team invaded my house. But, you know, they shut us down. But people were like still knocking on my doors. They're like, we want your food. Can you come inside? So instead of going to the backyard, they came and ate inside the house. we couldn't keep it like that anymore. We couldn't just tell people to come in our house anymore. So, you know, a couple of our customers were like, you know what, we know a place where you can set up a restaurant and maybe you can give that a try.
Vientiane Café.
Vientiane Café.
Okay, we have Sunny here.
Hello.
Sunny. Okay,
Hello.
so you guys actually started in the backyard.
In the backyard, yep.
How did that happen?
When did you start noticing that like more than the block started coming?
It's more like people would just hang out, you know, and then the neighborhood was pen and drugstore. Then I'm like, okay, what do you guys heard of?
Did this just happen like one night or like over time?
Over
Like
time.
My mother was just all about hospitality and showing the community our culture, and we just grew from there.
Eventually, they were like, okay, it's gonna be $2 a bowl. You'll get like a bowl of kopiak for $1.
Yeah.
Or a bowl, or some chicken wings and conio for like $2.
People love this place. So
Yeah.
Baltimore Avenue Dollar Stroll, which is going on this Thursday.
I feel like it is a story for me to tell. Like, it's something of my memory and it's my family story. But it's not just my family story, it's the community story.
yeah,
It's people who lived in West Philly at the time. People who remembered what it was like to live in that neighborhood. But then using their memory makes me feel good, like, okay, you know, they did come and sit in my living room and ate some food. Going back to your question, like, remembering my first American person,
yeah.
someone outside the community. They were friends with another Lao person, you know?
True.
So I really don't know who told who. That's the crazy part. And it's a puzzle. Putting the puzzles together.
I had some friends that were fellow artists and they told me that they were having dinner at this place.
Came up to me on the street and said, Joyce, lop, there's lop and sticky rice in this restaurant.
And they would describe the place and they said, oh, it's like a speakeasy. You just go in, you just have to know.
And she said, oh, it's an illegal place, it doesn't have a license. We have to go.
You just go in this gate.
The way they found this is by smelling, like there's something very, very delicious going on in this corner.
And it also felt very mysterious, you know.
There was this chain link fence with this blue tarp over it.
And it's underneath this blue tarp.
So we went up to the chain link fence and we just sort of pushed it gently aside.
There were a lot of plants and vines hanging down with vegetables growing on them, like squashes and peppers.
And we felt like we were walking through the door into Laos.
It was nice to be around stuff that might be in the food that I was eating, to know that it was like super locally grown, you know, like locally grown, like you could reach out and touch the plant that grew the thing that you were eating.
Where we saw the chickens in one corner, and
There were cats running around a lot of the time.
so you were walking into this space that felt like Laos, including the house garden in the back.
And the food was just amazing. I mean, you couldn't get food that good in a restaurant anywhere in Philadelphia or anywhere I'd ever been.
There were these wooden floors, and there were guys
I remember there would often be old men playing cards in the corner and smoking.
playing cards.
It was like, where did this place come from? Like, who are these people? How do they make food that's so incredibly good?
There were tables for people to sit at, and Foxy said, have a seat.
It just felt like a sort of like oasis.
We had our first meal there of sticky rice and lop, and it was like heaven.
I think part of the reason why is because it was a family-run operation. You know, it wasn't like the food was being made for me. I never felt like I was being served. I felt like I was being invited into the home of a family. And it's like, this is what we eat, you know, like.
And at that time, if you went to a Thai restaurant, if you wanted to have lop or sticky rice, you had to order it a day in advance.
Home-cooked meals are always so much better than, you know, meals that are there that are set up for this like culture of servitude and capitalism.
So the idea that you could actually go someplace and actually immediately have these two critically delicious Lao dishes was very exciting.
That was this magic ingredient.
I wanted to introduce other people of my neighborhood and friends of mine to this experience, because you did feel like you were walking into Laos.
It was also just interesting to see who came there, right?
So At that time, there were the Lao people there.
It started as a place to serve the Lao and Southeast Asian community, and then it spread to other people that didn't come from those communities. But there were kind of edges to the community that was attracting us.
You know, this group of 3 anthropologists, archaeologists, and then
There's one person, she had dreadlocks all the way down to her butt, and she had like 3 rings in her nose, and she had a black Labrador retriever.
generally had blonde dreadlocks and multiple piercings.
The other guy who was there, had clown makeup tattooed on his face. So I mean, just like the freakiest looking people. And they were visiting from out of town. I was like, hey, let me take you to this place. And we go in, and Foxy's like,
Welcome!
like, hey, because he recognized me, greeted us really warmly, sat us down. The dog was welcome.
So for a while there, in the beginning, that was early in the summer, we could see that the number of archaeologists and anthropologists increased, and the number of Laos sort of decreased.
Here we were guests in someone's home, and those barriers were broken down.
And then we heard the next day, I heard from the other woman who was there, that the police closed down the blue tarp.
You know, it was just like so insidious and awful.
And that the police actually had been eating at your place for a long time, and they hadn't fined you, or the story was that they were just concerned since the clientele had changed to this kind of upper middle class, even possibly upper class.
Even the name Operation Sunrise, like West Philadelphia is like some kind of like dark place, and we're gonna shine the light from City Hall.
It was a crime waiting to happen.
I know that it's a really common thing in West Philadelphia where people have these gathering spaces that are like a mix between home and business in a way, to make some extra rent money and to celebrate the culture.
That began actually the birth of Vientiane Café. Word got around that you guys wanted to go legit. I don't remember all the details here, but I contacted the owner of this side. I asked about that space, and she said that, well, actually, they had somebody in mind there. But I said, well, Melanie, why don't you come and have some of Dowie's cooking? So I got like mats to sit on, to have a traditional Lao style where we sit down, sitting on the floor on the back deck. Melanie was impressed.
So I was happy when the Blue Tarp reopened right next door to me.
Eventually, after about a year of very, very hard work, and I know that everybody in the neighborhood would go by and say, when are you opening? When are you opening?
I remember it was under construction for a really long time. And I was always like, when are you gonna open?
And I pointed out to Melanie, there was a built-in clientele. There's a solid clientele. This restaurant is going to survive.
I love the creativity of this place. I love how folks are out during the dollar stroll, and there's always a line that goes all the way down the block.
The dollar stroll really reminds me of the blue tarp.
Yeah,
That's
there's something about it.
Yeah, there's something about it because we're outside under the tent, and it's only $1. So,
Exactly. Yeah, there's something about it that has that old school vibe to it of like street food too. People know that it's the best Southeast Asian restaurant in the city. It has that reputation.
And then it's just gotten better and better.